Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining. My name is Danielle Forrest, and welcome to another productivity live stream. We're going to be doing 20-minute sprints with 5-minute breaks and a kind of free for all at the end because there's not enough time for another sprint. Anyway, because I'm all about just diving right into it, let's get started with our first sprint. And go. All right, that's the end of our first sprint so far. If you joined us for the first sprint, let me know in the chat or comments what you were working on. Did you succeed in what you wanted to accomplish? I started out with some just kind of nothing specials at first, and then I moved on into editing, doing draft 2 of Fated Mates of the Draconian episode 15. I think I'm probably around a little over halfway done with that draft, which is one of my goals for today, is to just get that draft done. I just realized I have a timer going still. Anyway, so on to like chit chat during the break. So I recently had it. I was so I've recently gotten to where I started backing Kickstarter campaigns, and I may have a problem. Like let's see. I'm gonna look it up because it's bad. It's quite bad. Oh my god, I'm gonna just log into my Kickstarter to see just how terrible it is, because I keep on backing things. Like, let's see. Come on. Save. Let's see. All right, backed projects. I have 5 projects that I've backed. I'm going to move this to the other screen so I can see it better. All right, so I have 5 projects I've backed recently. And I don't, there's only one of them that I backed that I didn't spend too much money on. And even then, I went a little bit overboard. But fortunately, all of the options were fairly cheap. So I ended up spending like $30 or something like that. But it was like most of the options were like 10. So that wasn't really saying much. I recently increased my backing for a project. It's called Spirit Fire. It's an interesting concept for like a board game. It's calling it a living board game, and I'd originally backed it for the minimum, $99, which is, a reasonable cost for, certain board games. Like, I had recently bought Witcher Old World for, it was like $90 something, and that was a really good game. So I can't believe how much board games cost. Honestly, it's insane. But they just sent me an email about add-ons, and I was like, I need these. Like, seriously, let me pull this up. Like, I'm gonna rearrange my screens again, and I'm gonna pull this up, and let's switch to cam and screen. So like, some of this is stuff that's like, it's like add-on packs, so you have more stuff, and like, I was like, okay, yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't know if I want it, like undecided type of things. And then they did this. I was immediately like, I need this in my life. I have to have this. This is gorgeous. I have issues. But then they also had like special foil decks and stuff. I'm like, oh god. And then they did the all in. I'm like, I just doubled my backing on this one because I was like, this is awesome. These are really cool. And like, this is ridiculous. This is utterly ridiculous. Oh my god. I have issues. Anyway, moving back to the cam. I've spent way too much money lately on Kickstarter, and I just need to avoid it like the plague, because I have no impulse control. Which I knew I had no impulse control, but anyway. And that's the end of our break. And Now it's time for another 20-minute timer. And go. Okay, so that's our next sprint. I finished with episode 15, draft 2, as I had hoped to do. So yay! I also started working on a post for my Ream subscribers. Well, actually, it's gonna be everyone associated with my Ream page, so it's gonna be public, followers, etc. But um, so I started working on that, and I I don't know. So I was making note of everything that I had shared recently on Ream for this update post, and I just got a giggle again because there is a pop culture reference in the title of episode 14 of my serial Fated Mates of the Dracoan. The title is Just a Little Light Stalking, and I I I just get a giggle out of it every single time because it is part of a property, a cultural reference that I have watched so many times it's not even funny. Like, it's one of my go-to movies to watch, and I just want to, I love it. It's wonderful. It's so wrong, and I think that's part of why I love it, because yeah, if you can't have fun with how wrong it is, then is it really is it really fun? Um, but uh, but yeah, I just ran out of steam. So anyway, the reference, of course, is to Deadpool, and I keep on asking people, like, comment if you recognize that reference. I'm like, it's Deadpool. It's Deadpool. It's the scene where he threatens a guy with a knife, and um makes a threatening gay reference, which, considering the fact that Deadpool is canonically bi or pan or something along those lines, is not inappropriate. uh, it is kind of funny. I think it's funny that people complain about the fact that, you know, Deadpool is in a straight relationship in the movies, when realistically speaking, there's a there's like a 50% chance that if someone is bi or pan, they're gonna be in a straight relationship. Like, that's just the way that works. If someone is attracted to more than one gender, there is a chance that they're going to be in a straight relationship, and sometimes they're going to be in a same-sex relationship. That's just the way it works. That doesn't change their identity. It doesn't make them any less representation. And let's be real, how many times does Deadpool hit on guys or make those types of references in the movies? I can think of at least twice. I mean, they were both slightly threatening, but we can. It's Deadpool, so it's supposed to be fun and dangerous because he kills everything in sight. That's just Deadpool. I mean, he's never going to be, shall we say, good quality representation, largely because he's always going to be questionable because he's Deadpool. He's insane. There's something wrong with his head. I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong with his head, and that's canonical as well. He's a nut job. And my dog's making noises. What you doing, girl? What you doing? What is it? What? She's silly. She's watching us. Anyway. Which I realize, like, things like insane and nut job, they're like, I don't, yeah, it's weird in modern context, like, what is appropriate language for mental health issues, which I feel like with Deadpool, he leans into um he leans into it. Like he has no problem with being inappropriate. He has no problem with being different and just living it up. So, I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously, if you have somebody who's struggling with mental health issues, you don't want to call them things like nut jobs and stuff. But I don't feel like for someone like Deadpool, it's a struggle. Like, he revels in his issues. And I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that was the end of our break, and we're moving on to our next 20-minute sprint. And go. All right, that was our last. Oh, hi. So we have someone in the comment in the chat, Lula Reeds, who says they are also autistic. Welcome. It's always nice to encounter someone else on the spectrum. I'm glad to have you here. I'm gonna like this is the point in the stream where we kind of just do a free for all. If you want to chat, we can chat. I'll keep an eye on the chat during this time, but I'm also going to be like right now I'm watching a video for coming up with some ideas for doing a thumbnail for my Sims Let's Play that I want to do soon. So I will keep this, on the side so I can see it while I'm watching that video. And I just spazzed out my computer a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to be working on that so I can get some ideas for putting together a thumbnail for that, which I'm hoping to do this Sunday, actually do the live stream this Sunday. So keep an eye out for the schedule for that. I'm hoping to schedule that within the next couple days. I might have to schedule it the day of, but anyway, keep productive. I hope, and let me know if they're what you're working on and if you are having some success with it. We're gonna end the stream at exactly 2 o'clock, generally speaking, and like I said, I'll keep an eye on the chat and respond as needed. All right. So, yeah, I have the hardest time with self-care activities. One trick I've found for myself personally is, if you chain activities, it can sometimes be a lot easier, like making it so as soon as you finish one activity, you move directly into another one. Um, and like, for example, I had the hardest time with doing things like exercise and doing things like meditation. And I've gotten to where I've thrown meditation onto my routine for going to bed. So I now have it that I meditate. I get in bed, and then I turn on a guided meditation, and I meditate right before bed to try to clear my mind and relax my body to hopefully make it easier for me to sleep. And I also will have it during my lunch break at work that um, I'll get something to eat and maybe read or play a game. And then after that, I'll do I'll go for a walk, and then I will do Duolingo for a little bit and stuff like that. And I'm just like one after the next doing them, and I feel like that helps. Yeah, I've definitely had like one of my biggest challenges is with taking the like supplements and stuff that I take, because a lot of them require that you take them with a meal, and that's one of my biggest challenges because I tend to forget to take things with a meal with food. Yeah, and yeah, that's I also find like for me sometimes setting a timer on my phone sometimes is one of the best ways of doing that, So I'll have it, like, I'll have a timer to remind myself, hey, it's time to do this. It's time to stop this. Because, like, I won't stop on my own. And I find, like, with the alarms on my phone, it won't stop until I tell it to stop, which I think is one of the things that's really helpful, because with a lot of other notifications, like event notifications and stuff, they'll stop after, they'll like alert you and then they'll stop. But I find that, with like an alarm on my phone, it's not going to stop until I tell it to. So I have to get up and go to the phone in order to stop it. And with I don't know about with Android, but with iOS, you can tailor the name of each of the alarms. So I have one that says like start cooking. I have one that says stop working, go for a walk. D&D, because I have to like switch gears and start getting ready to go to my game nights. Um, and like stop eating, because I don't want to eat within like 2 hours of going to bed. But I find that alarms work pretty well for things like that, because they can't be ignored. You can't just like go in one ear and out the other with it. And I don't know. I find that that helps for me specifically, because it is something that you can it can't be ignored. And I'm really bad about ignoring notifications, because we just get too many in modern times, and it's so easy to, yeah. I yeah, that's where yeah, I usually don't have the problem with that. I think part of that is just ensuring that, at least for me, personally, ensuring that if I have a certain type of a notification, I can't just, I'm not going to just turn it off. I have to just do it. Um, which, part of me, as I've been tailoring back all of my notifications so that the ones I do get are ones that I need to react to. And sometimes it's a matter of, if you have an alarm, it's going to be at a point where you can deal with it. I think that's one of the biggest challenges for me personally, is like when I have an alarm that I can't deal with in that moment, and I have to ignore it, then I will forget about it indefinitely. I will never remember it. At that point, it's just like it's gone. It's never happened. Um, so I definitely know what that's like, turning off your alarm and then not doing the thing. I've done that like 1,000 times. It's one of the reasons that like even some of the like apps that were specifically designed for neurodivergent people, I found that they weren't that useful for me, because they weren't triggering me to do the things that they were supposed to. And yeah, I mean, that's why I feel like having, for me at least, having something that is harder to ignore and is useful, and also making sure that when I set myself a notification, it is at a time that I can do it. Because if I have to postpone it at all, it's going to get forgotten. That's all there is to it. So I hope you find something that does work for you. I know that can be like really challenging, and it's something that I've been working on for years, just to try to find things that work for me. And I'm like slowly but surely improving on stuff, and getting better at doing certain things. And I still forget. I still like miss on things from time to time, and sometimes it's just I'll get buried in stuff, like I'll definitely have it where like after 2 o'clock, in theory at exactly 2 o'clock, I should be getting up and moving on and doing other things. But it's not uncommon for me to just continue tinkering at the computer for like the next 15-20 minutes. Next thing you know, I'm rushing to try to get my teeth brushed and my lunch made and stuff before I head out the door for work, because I go to work after this. But yeah, it can be really hard to find the things that work for you. And I do hope that you find what you're looking for on that regard. And yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I found interesting is I had heard about, and I don't know, I would double check this, but I know in the past, places like Goodwill gave preference to disabled people in hiring, but part of the reason they did that was because they could hire disabled people at a lower, below minimum wage. So there's been scandals with regard to that where they would hire, say, a blind person for $1 an hour. And it was, they were making so little that they couldn't even afford to get to work. So I would always wonder about things where they're giving preferential hiring to disabled people because it's going above and beyond the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it makes me wonder if they have other motivations for why they're doing that. And I do think it's odd that, physically demanding jobs would preferentially choose disabled people because, I mean, regardless of what your disability is, you're probably going to have trouble with it. Like I have trouble with my day job because sometimes the sensory components of my job is just a bit too demanding. So I get kind of like tired and fuzzy feeling because it's too loud, it's too hot, it's too humid, it's too cold, it's too this, it's too that, and it just kind of overwhelms me, and I just get kind of foggy. And that's just, for me personally, that's my specific challenges. And then yeah, you have, it definitely can have it like physically demanding jobs with like requires you to lift a certain amount. That's like if someone, is on crutches or a wheelchair, like that's just that might not be practical. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is stuff that I had heard about Goodwill, and some of it is from the past, and they may have moved away from that. But I have heard of that. That um, let's look. I'm gonna look it up. All right. Under Section 14C, businesses that receive a certificate from the U.S. Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division are authorized to pay disabled workers whose earning and productive capacity is impaired less than the minimum wage, a sub minimum wage. So that is actually, yeah. And here's again from the U.S. Department of Labor: a worker's pay rate may be less than the minimum wage only if the worker's disability reduces his or her ability to do the job. So that is actually something that is legal, which I find very disturbing. That disabled individuals are capable of being paid less. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that Goodwill is paying, above minimum wage. Like that's always good. Yeah, I definitely understand, if the physical demands would be too much. Um, yeah, I mean, I've always kind of thrived on the physical demands, and in spite of the fact that I do have like my leg is all messed up, I like being able to lift a lot or to prove that I'm capable, but I'm not sure that I would enjoy it if I was doing it all day long. And that, because that's definitely not something that I have to do like constantly. It's something that I have to do sporadically. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. That's, I mean, that could be, I mean, I think my brother had an issue with that. He had a couple of times where, I think when he was a kid, he actually, would, kind of black out and collapse for a fraction of a second, when he was standing. And I forget what that is. It's like a blood pressure issue, I think, that, when you're standing, you don't get enough blood pressure to your head, and it causes you to, but I mean, dizziness could be something else as well. uh but yeah, I hope you get that looked into a little bit. I mean, um because that could be any number of things. It could also be an inner ear problem. Pots. Yeah, like there's a lot of things that can cause, like dizziness while standing and stuff. So, and yeah, like I said, some of it can be just as basic as like an issue with your inner ear, which I've had issues with my inner ear at times. And um that can definitely. Okay, sorry. That is 2 o'clock at this point. Like I said, I hope that you find, get an answer to it. Just, be safe, stay careful, and I am gonna do the next productivity live stream on Tuesday at 12:30. So I'm gonna end it here. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful day.